Hi, don't mind my scratchy voice. I've got a sore throat this week, so hopefully I'll be able to get through this video without having a coughing fit. Today I want to talk about the movie The Golden Compass, which is based on Philip Pullman's book of the same name, which I did a review on a couple weeks ago, and I will put a link to it right here, or maybe over here, one of those spots. I'm not going to just talk about the movie as an adaptation though. I'm going to also just talk about it as a movie and see, is it a good movie, is it a bad movie, is it a good adaptation, or is it a bad adaptation? So let's get started. So to start off, what are the characters like? These we'll kind of do in comparison to the the book characters, but we'll also kind of do them as their own thing. So Lyra. In the movie, Lyra is much more three-dimensional. She is much more a big personality. She is rambunctious and spunky, and she's again a little girl, but there's so much more to her personality, and you get really more connected to her in this version than in the book, I think. And I think that the actress who played her, Dakota Blue Richards, did a really good job, especially considering it was her first acting role ever. I also really liked Pantaleimon in this, Pan. He was just as good in this as in the book. The chemistry between the two actors who played Lyra and the actor who played Pan, Freddie Highmore, have a lot of good connections. And I think this is partly due to the fact that they did have some times where they would be in the studio together, because of course Pan is a voice acting role, and I think that extra effort was really worth it. The character of Roger is about the same as in the book. There's a little bit more to him than in the book, but I think that's partially because we're allowed to have scenes that don't involve Lyra that involve Roger. Like when he's taken by the gobblers, we get a little bit more of that. And we get a little bit more of him at Bolvangar before Lyra gets there. And then I thought the actors who played Lord Asriel and Mrs. Coulter did a fantastic job. Both of those characters just leaped off the screen, and they just were both really well done and very, very similar to their characters in the book. And so I thought both of them did a really, really good job. But again, we didn't get a lot of Lord Asriel, and we didn't even get the good stuff because of when the movie ended, and I'll talk about that more later. And then Yorick is just amazing. He is exactly how I always would have pictured him, how his voice, the actor's voice, is what I hear when I read the books. It's just perfect, and he's played by Ian McKellen, who plays Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, so that's pretty cool. So then the story. Of course it is the same story as the book, but they actually did some pretty big changes. So in the book, there is the section called Oxford, the first part of the book. Then there's the part at Bolvangar, and then there's the part at Svalbard. In the movie, they switched the Svalbard part and the Bolvangar part. And I'm not really sure why they did that. So the Samoyeds capture Lyra, bring her to Svalbard? Why? Why would they do that when in the movie they say that the Samoyeds are working with Mrs. Coulter? So why would they not bring her to Bolvangar like they did in the book? That change doesn't make much sense to me at all. Plus, it means that there's no reason for her to go and get her father, whereas before, she's already at Svalbard, and so then she gets her father, because he's there too. But now, she would have to be in Svalbard, go to Bolvangar, and then go back. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not sure at all why they did it the way that they did it. Was it something that they did in editing? Was it something that they changed later? Or was it something they did right away from the beginning? I don't know. I can't comprehend why they would do that. And I don't think it was a good choice for the movie or for an adaptation. Part of that leads to the fact that it ends while they're going back to Svalbard to get her father, but not when it ends in the book. In the book it ends with Roger's death and the going to another world. That ending is so amazing, and they filmed it too, and it's in the commercials. So I'm pretty sure, and I read this online, what happened was that New Line Cinema changed it later. During editing, they were like, oh, actually, we're going to not have it end there, after the trailers had already been sent out and stuff, which I can't, again, comprehend why they would do that. It makes the ending so much less packed. That is a really cool scene, and it leads so well into the rest of the series. I think the elimination of that scene is why they never made a movie of the other two books, because there was no reason to go back, because you didn't have a cliffhanger. There was no reason to watch another one. No one who hadn't read the books knew there was going to be another one. It's not a good adaptation choice, and it's not a good choice just for a plain movie either. The last thing that I really want to talk about is the CGI, because a lot of this movie had CGI between the demons, the dust things that happen when the demons die, the ice bears. There's a lot of CGI in this. I mean, every single person, every extra has a demon, has a little animal with them. And like, fortunately, we're able to use like small birds or insects for some of them, but you'll look at a scene of people walking around town and there's dogs and lions and just random animals, and that must have been a lot of work. And on top of that, there's a lot of work for the actors who have to pretend to be talking to something who wasn't there or holding something that wasn't there and make it look good. And it did, especially for the time that it was made. But even now, I mean, it's only been, what, seven years since the movie came out? But they still hold up really well. They still look really good. And it still seems pretty realistic. Like, when Lyra is riding on Yorick Burnison, it looks like Lyra is riding on a giant polar bear. But she's not. She was riding on like one of those bull rider things and with a head on it. And I know that they had a guy like in a green suit, like standing on stilts on 4 legs to be Yorick sometimes. But like, that's really interesting, and I think it worked really well. That could have been a real challenge in the for the movie, and I'm sure that it was challenging, but it could have been done so badly, but I thought it was done really well. Overall, what did I think of the movie? Well, I saw the movie actually before I read the book. I didn't know that it was going to be a book. I saw it when I was in middle school, and I thought it was so cool. I loved it, but it made me want to read the book. So the movie itself, I'd give around a 4. I don't think it's perfect. I think the first half is perfect, but then like I said, there were some things at the end that I was like, I don't really understand why you did that. And so for that reason, I give it a 4. As an adaptation, I'd have to give it like a 2.5 or to a 3 because of those changes. The first half, again, really, really good, sticking to the book. The characters all stick to the book, but I can't figure out why they would change the ending, and I can't figure out why they would switch Svalbard and Bollinger. I really can't. And so I don't think that it was a super great adaptation, and also they weren't able to make the rest of the series because of the things that happened with the movie. So while it did make me want to read the book, and so that gives it points, it also was just not, it didn't go fit the story well, and the changes that they made weren't for the best. So I would give that a 2.5 or a 3. What did you guys think of the Golden Compass movie? I know that a lot of people hated it, and I know that a lot of people didn't. I didn't hate it. I still don't hate it. I don't like it as much as I did before I read the books, but what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with things that I said? Do you disagree? Let me know in comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye!